The top stories tonight in Y News. Malacanang confirms that President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s attendance in the coronation of King Charles III in London.
Justice Secretary Crispin Remulla unmasks the producer in Degamo slay plot if they are using a movie production as an analogy.
Several lawmakers urged the government to make corrective plans on the effects of production cuts of several oil-producing countries.
And former United States President Donald Trump is set to make a speech after the Manhattan indictment.
Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Monday, the 3rd of April, 2023. Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the Philippines and in other parts of the world. I am William Theo.
We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media channels. I am Mariel Latoza.
First in the news, an economist believes that the Marcos government should study thoroughly the planned merger of the state banks, the Land Bank of the Philippines and the Development Bank of the Philippines. Nel Maribuhok will tell us why.
The merged Land Bank of the Philippines and the Development Bank of the Philippines should be able to compete better against their private sector counterparts. Michael Ricafort, a chief economist, said the government should study thoroughly the said merger with aim to deliver better services to more Filipinos.
More importantly, mapaglingkuran mabuti yung target client ng mga bangko na yun, di ba? Yung service quality, yung mga produkto. So it's really attuned to the times, yung mga pangangailangan.
Land Bank is primarily tasked to help the government develop the country's agricultural sector and to provide support for the Marcos administration's agrarian reform program. The DBP, on the other hand, specializes in granting loans to state agencies, local government units, large corporations, and small businessmen, among others, for undertakings that would help develop the country's economy. According to Ricafort, the mandates of the two state banks need to be reviewed for it address the current challenges.
Yung mga mandato, dapat nire-review din yan. Siguro yung reasons for their creation, many years back, many decades back, maaring nagbago na rin kasi yung panahon ngayon.
In a press briefing in Malacanang, Finance Secretary Benjamin Jokno said the merger will eliminate redundancy and inefficiency in operations, which will result in government savings. The projected operating cost savings due to the planned merger could reach at least 5.3 billion each year or at least 20 billion pesos in the next 4 years. Before the year ends, the government is planning to make the merger happen. Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Malacanang confirmed that President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. and First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos will attend the coronation of King Charles III on May 6 in Westminster Abbey, London. Presidential Communications Office Secretary Sheloy Garafil said the President and First Lady have accepted the invitation to attend the coronation. The President also accepted the invitation of the Master of the Household to a reception at Buckingham Palace in advance of the coronation of their King and the Queen Consorts on May 5.
Meanwhile, the Department of Justice Secretary Crispin Boying Remulla directly identified Negros Oriental 3rd District Representative Arnold Fotevez Jr. as the executive producer or mastermind in the killing of Governor Roel Degamo. Secretary Remulla also said that the Degamo killing will now be considered as case closed. Lea Ilagan will tell us why.
The Special Task Force Degamo has likened the killing of Negros Oriental Governor Roel Degamo in a movie. Justice Secretary Crispin Boying Remulla has described the role of Negros Oriental 3rd District Representative Arnold Fotevez Jr. if they are using a film production as an analogy.
Kung sa sine natin tingnan to, no? It's an analogy to a movie. Si Marvin was a director, props, producer of the props, and casting director. Si Congressman Tevez was the producer or executive producer of the whole production.
Secretary of the Interior and Local Government Benhar Abalos, on the other hand, said Marvin Miranda, who was arrested last March 31, acted as the casting director.
Marvin Miranda, upon the instruction of a certain boss idol, Big Boss Kalbo, was the one who recruited them and the person who provided logistical and material support during the planning and execution of the assassination plot against Governor Digamo.
Secretary Remulla named Congressman Tevez as the boss of Miranda.
Nabanggit niya rin po yung boss idol, Kong Kalbo. Sino po ba to?
Tevez.
Tevez who?
Oh. Arnie Tevez. Congressman Arnie Tevez. Arnold Fotevez.
The DOJ Secretary also confirmed that they are yet to file cases against Tevez in connection to the Digamo killing.
It's due process we have to observe. We have to observe what the law has set aside for the rights of the accused. Yun lang po ang iniintay natin. But otherwise, tapos na po ang boxing, nahuli na po ang lahat.
The STF Digamo considered the killing of Digamo and 8 others as case closed.
Tapos na po. Nakita na natin, kumbaga sa police, case closed na to, prosecution na tayo pagkatapos. But we know who masterminded it.
The Special Task Force also considered politics as the main motive of the crime.
May kinalaman ng politika sa pagyayari dito. Yan po ang alam natin. Sa ngayon, marahil may iba pang dahilan na bukod sa politika, marahil negosyo sa mga illegal na naaawat siguro. Pero ang pinaka-direct motive na nakikita namin politika.
Leia Ilagan, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
The Department of Justice is optimistic that Negros Oriental 3rd District Representative Arnold Fotevez Jr. will be charged. Dante Amento will tell us why.
Justice Secretary Crispin Boyeng Remulla assures that there is a lot of evidence that can be used in filing complaints against suspended Negros Oriental 3rd District Representative Arnold Fotevez Jr. But due process must be observed. Hence, things can't be made in a hurry.
There's a lot. Hindi pa namin nilalabas lahat. We don't have to telegraph our punches. Basta marami pa iba. Testimonies are part of them.
Remulla added that Tevez is also the financier in the killing of Governor Ruel Digamo last March 4, 2023.
Finance, yung mga baril sa kanya galing, siya bumibili ng mga baril. Yung lugar kung nagtataguan, bumibili ng sasakyan, pinifinance niya lahat. Kaya producer nga, executive producer, financing everything.
Meanwhile, Congressman Tevez's lawyer, Attorney Ferdinand Topacio, in a statement said they will no longer comment on Secretary Remulla's latest pronouncements. They will just wait for charges that may be filed and respond in the proper forum. Dante Amento, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Marvin Miranda, one of the alleged masterminds, went through inquest proceedings before the Department of Justice or DOJ this afternoon, April 3. This is in connection to his involvement in the killing of Negros Oriental Governor Ruel Digamo. Justice Secretary Crispin Remulla said that Miranda is a military reservist who has a connection with Negros Oriental 3rd District Representative Arnold Fotevez Jr. Miranda has an alleged video conference with Tevez before the crime occurred.
Sinabi ko na sa inyo yun sa simula pa lang. Siguro ng mga March 8 or 9, sinabi ko na sa inyo may video call na pinakita si yung kausap, si Marvin.
The Senate is set to begin its inquiry on the killing of Negros Oriental Governor Roel Degamo and several civilians on April 17. The Senate Committee on Public Order and Dangerous Drugs, headed by Senator Ronald De La Rosa, will preside the hearing. The senator's office says the new date was upon the request of the governor's widow, Pamplona Mayor Janice Degamo. De La Rosa earlier noted that the Senate panel's probe was rescheduled to give way for the Justice Department's filing of cases against the suspects.
Finance Secretary Benjamin Diokno has warned of a possible fiscal collapse in the country if there will be no reforms to the pension system of the military and uniformed personnel. A former cabinet member, however, believes there are more reasons for a fiscal collapse. Eileen Cerudo will tell us more.
The country is facing several issues which can contribute to the possible fiscal collapse in the country. According to former Presidential Advisor for Political Affairs Ronald Llamas, the government needs to curb corruption. This includes agricultural smuggling and cartel.
Imbis na nakakakolekta yung gobyerno ng buwis na maayos, nakakapag-evade ng taxes. Yung itong mga smugglers na ito, itong mga cartel na ito, na dapat sana ay wasakin.
Department of Finance Secretary Benjamin Diokno previously said that in order to avert fiscal collapse, there is a need to overhaul the military pension system. According to the official, the allocation for the pension and gratuity fund for this year is at 272 billion pesos, 50% higher compared to 2022. In a Twitter post, former Senator Panfilo Lacson said the finance secretary's pay is more than what some soldiers are receiving. Llamas said it would be unfair to the military and uniformed personnel.
Naibigay mo na, tas babawiin mo, medyo mahirap yan, no? Halimbawa sa mga developed countries katulad ng US, Canada, Europe, hindi pwedeng gawin yan, no?
Meanwhile, Llamas said that it would have been better if the economic experts warned the previous administration about the possible repercussions if the salary and pension of the uniformed personnel increased.
Dahil yung economist in the room, no? Si Diokno, siya yung nagsabi. Ang problema, hindi niya sinabi na bahagi ako ng problema. Kasama ako sa nagpasya, bakit tinreplay o kinwadruple yung sahod, no? Bakit hindi ko in-advisean yung former president na boss, magkakaroon tayo ng fiscal fiscal deficit yung susunod na gobyerno.
Eileen Cerudo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
And for our news abroad, an explosive device kills popular Russian military blogger at the street food bar number 1 cafe in Russia's second largest city. Marvy Delfin explains why live. Marvy? Kath, the explosion on Sunday, April 2 in St. Petersburg injured 25 people, sending 19 to the hospital and ultimately killing the popular Russian military blogger Vladlen Tatarsky, according to Alexander Beglov, the regional governor. Providing insight and critical commentary on the Ukraine-Russian war, Vladlen Tatarsky, whose real name is Maxim Fomin, garnered over 560,000 followers on Telegram, becoming one of the most influential of his kind, also known for his anti-war sentiments. Many are claiming that Tatarsky met with members of a group. There, a woman gave him a box with a statuette, which many claim has caused the explosion. Mikhailo Podolyak, the advisor for the Ukrainian president, criticized the current events in Russia, stating that it was only a matter of time such internal political fight was to occur. Meanwhile, since the beginning of the invasion, multiple explosions and fire attacks have happened in Russia, with no certain reason why. An investigation to those who might be involved has been launched. Back to you, Kath. Thank you, Marvy Delfin, reporting live from Australia. Finland's right wing, led by Petteri Orpo, has claimed victory after Sunday's three-way election race. Prime Minister Sanna Marin was pleased with her center-left party's performance in the election, despite being narrowly defeated by Orpo's National Coalition Party by 0.9%. The right-wing populist Finns party won a record 20.1% ahead of Marin's center-left, which secured 19.9% of the vote. The Prime Minister acknowledged the election shortly after Orpo claimed victory and congratulated both parties for their wins. Conservative leader Orpo, who secured the highest vote at 20.8%, believes that Finnish people want change and that he will be opening up negotiations to build trust and cooperation between all parties and to build a strong government. Finn's party leader Riikka Purra was also pleased to have the best result in her party's history, increasing their seats in the parliament by 7. In 2019, Sanna Marin became the world's youngest leader and has been praised for her work in handling the COVID-19 pandemic and for steering Finland towards membership in the North Atlantic Treaty Organization Alliance. We'll share more global stories with you later, but for now, back to you, Marielle. Thank you, Kath. Metropolitan Manila Development Authorities started to set up multi-agency monitoring for long holiday situation in their metro base. JP Nunez will tell us why.
The Metropolitan Manila Development Authority or MMDA and other transportation agencies already had a discussion earlier today, April 3, for the multi-agency monitoring that they will conduct this long holiday. Starting today, the MMDA and other transportation agencies such as Land Transportation Office or LTO, Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board or LTFRB, and Interagency Council for Traffic or IAC started to set up the monitoring in the MMDA Metro Base in Makati City. Through this location, MMDA and other agencies will monitor live traffic situations in Metro Manila as well as the terminals where passengers are expected to swamp starting on Wednesday.
Pwede po nila i-monitor ang lahat ng lansangan, bus terminals, paliparan at iba pa sa pamamagitan po ng mga CCTV ng MMDA na nakalagay po sa buong Metro Manila.
Among the available connected cameras in their metro base are from the Parañaque Integrated Terminal Exchange or PITX, where most provincial buses are being dispatched. MMDA expects that volume of vehicles in Metro Manila may reach up to 400,000 on Wednesday when more passengers are expected to travel in their provinces as it will be the last day of work and classes in schools.
Ang inaasahan po namin sa Semana Santa ay yung congestion po ay mangyayari po sa mga lugar na malapit sa mga bus terminals, paliparan at seaports. Kaya po ina-assign po namin ang deployment ng MMDA sa mga lugar na yon para i-manage yung trapiko sa areas na yon.
JP Nunez, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Meanwhile, local airline companies shared tips and reminders for passengers for a hassle-free travel experience during the holiday rush. Janice Inhente will tell us why.
As the volume of passengers are expected to travel by air during long holiday, local airline companies shared guidelines for a smooth and convenient travel experience. Cebu Pacific reminds its passengers to allot extra time in arriving at the airport for their flights. Cebu Pacific spokesperson Carmina Romero said checking in online using their website or app within 24 hours to 1 hour before the flight can help passengers skip the long queues at the airport check-in counters.
Paghandaan din po natin ang traffic sa daan. Counter closes 1 hour before departure. Tsaka malaking tulong din po kung mag-online check-in tayo. Kapag nag-online check-in po kasi makukuha nyo yung inyong boarding pass. Ngayon, kung wala naman kayong iti-check-in na bagahe at nakuha nyo na po ang inyong boarding pass, pwede na po kayong dumiretso sa security check and then sa inyo pong gate.
Passengers going abroad should proceed to the immigration area and final security immediately after securing their boarding pass. Romero said passengers should also check the traffic situation going to the airport, and for others who are likely to miss their flight are advised to rebook their ticket up to 2 hours before flight schedule. Cebu Pacific assures that their ground personnel is ready to extend assistance for passengers in case something happens at the airport. Meanwhile, the Philippine Airlines is expecting up to a 20% increase in the passenger traffic in Ninoy Aquino International Airport or NAIA this long holiday. That is why the airline company made some adjustments in their check-in process for passengers to not miss their flights. From 3 to 4 hours, PAL passengers are advised to arrive at the airport 5 to 6 hours ahead of their flight schedule for an early check-in.
Ngayon, we allow passengers to check in as early as 6 hours, 5 to 6 hours before their flight. So kung ang flight mo ay, let's say, 7 p.m., maaari kang mag-check-in as early as 1 in the afternoon or 2 in the afternoon. So this will create a spread in terms of the volume of passengers utilizing the check-in counter. We have 40 counters in the north wing of T2 and 40 counters in the south wing of T2. So full manning na po tayo. And that is the same situation sa Terminal 1.
For passengers without check-in baggage, stay within free baggage allowance to ensure smooth check-in process. PAL also advises passengers to secure and ensure validity of documents and other identification cards, including vaccination cards. Janice Enhente, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Philippine Coast Guard Commandant Admiral Artemio M. Abu inspected Manila North Harbor Port early this morning, together with the Department of Transportation Assistant Secretary for Maritime Julius Llano and PCG Deputy Commandant for Administration CG Vice Admiral Ronnie Gilgavan. They monitored the situation of the passengers at the port as well as the facilities to ensure a safe and proper sailing. They also reminded the passengers who will bring their pets to bring their relevant pet documents such as veterinary health certificate and vaccination card for validation.
So far, maayos naman, and we're making sure na magtuloy-tuloy ng ito kahit dumagsa pa yung mga tao.
Meanwhile, Admiral Abu reminded the passengers to make sure the necessary documents are complete when boarding the ship so that the trip is not delayed or disrupted. Also, avoid carrying prohibited items such as sharp objects, flammable or liquids, and chemicals that can cause fire. The Philippine Ports Authority has also placed help desks for passengers who need assistance. PCG is on heightened alert until April 10, 2023.
Agahan nila yung pagpunta sa mga terminal at huwag silang magdala ng mga bulky na kargamento at yung mga pinagbabawal na gamit, deadly weapons o whatever nature, para maging maaliwalas yung pagbiyahe nila. Ay sabihin, walang hassle.
Several lawmakers call on the government to address the effects of the production cuts of crude oil of several oil-producing countries. For Senator Francis Chis Escudero, this will definitely affect the country's recovery due to its inflationary effects. The lawmaker says concerned government agencies should meet and issue corrective plans to cushion its impact. Meanwhile, Senator Amy Marcos recommends to the government to look at importing from other countries such as India, China, and possibly Russia. The presidential sister also noted of her proposed measure filed last year seeking to grant the president the power to suspend the 12% VAT imposed on petroleum products.
Maynilad customers will now experience longer hours of water service interruptions. Meanwhile, the National Irrigation Administration will reduce its allocation from Angat Dam for irrigation. Ray Pelayo will tell us why.
The number of Maynilad customers that were affected by the water service interruption now reached 1.1 million. According to Maynilad spokesperson Jennifer Rufo, they will experience 14 to 19 hours of no water supply. The concessionaire reminds their customers to check their respective schedule of water service interruptions and store water.
Dito sa mga oras na nabanggit, wala talagang tubig dito, no, Ray? Kasi limitado ang ating supply na natatanggap mula dito sa Novaliches Portal sa Quezon City.
Last Friday, the National Water Resources Board or NWRB has approved to retain the 50 cubic meters per second allocation for water supply to Metro Manila and nearby provinces. Maynilad is requesting an allocation increase to 52 CMS to maintain a sufficient supply.
Yung level naman ng tap is nasa normal high water level siya, no? So, I think pwede naman pagbigyan, and of course, yung requirement din ng mga kababayan natin dito sa Metro Manila.
Concessionaires noted that they did not receive the granted allocation because of the leaks and illegal connections they discovered along the common purpose facility in Bulacan. Manila Water also suspended the water supply sharing agreement because of the depleting water level of the La Mesa Dam.
Dahil unti-unti na rin binabawi yung cross-portal sharing natin ng Manila Water, dahil kailangan din nila ng tubig, by April 1, naramdaman na natin yung full effect itong kawalan ng cross-portal sharing.
Meanwhile, the National Irrigation Administration will now reduce 10 cubic meters per second of their allocation for farmers in Bulacan and Pampanga. Administration Edingilian said that around 7,000 hectares of rice were already harvested.
Yung 30 cubic meters per second po kasi yun yung actual na requirement namin para dun sa natirang standing crop. I think around 15,000 hectares pa yun yung natitira po.
Ray Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Former United States President Donald Trump is set to give his remarks related to allegations against him. Meanwhile, his political party expects him to plead not guilty. Ruth Bahe tells us why live. Yes, Ruth?
Yes, Kat. As the first former United States president to face criminal charges, Mr. Donald Trump, 76, is scheduled to be arraigned, fingerprinted, and photographed at the Manhattan courthouse on Tuesday, April 4. After being arraigned in New York on charges related to hush money payments, Trump is scheduled to speak in public in Florida at his Mar-a-Lago estate Tuesday night. The Trump campaign refused to give details to what he is about to say, but an expert on the matter expressed that the former U.S. president would probably emphasize his perception on the political persecution directed towards him. Joe Tacopina, Trump's lawyer, added that the accusations are politically motivated in order to undermine the former president's bid for re-election in 2024. The grand jury heard testimony concerning a $130,000 payment made to adult film actress Stormy Daniels in the last weeks of the 2016 presidential campaign before the indictment. Trump's attorneys would analyze and consider every feasible problem to raise opposition once the indictment becomes public and that it is clear that Mr. Trump will plead not guilty. Back to you, Kath.
Thank you, Ruth Bahe, reporting live from Vietnam. And those are the reasons behind the news in other parts of the globe. I'm Kat Maraos, live from Bangkok, Thailand. Good evening.
The Provincial Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Office of Basilan has sought the assistance of the residents living in coastal areas as well as the fishermen to fast-track the search for the missing passengers of the MV Lady Mary Joy 3. Meanwhile, PDRRMO Basilan stated that the search operation is now on its second layer of intervention. Alan Manansala will tell us why.
Mga ingisda inapisohan na rin natin na tingnan, no, baka mayroon lang sa ilang araw na pagmamanman mula nung nangyari ito hanggang ngayon wala naman tayong namataan na.
The Provincial Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Office or PDRRMO Basilan has asked the assistance of locals and the fishermen to look for the missing passengers of the MV Mary Joy 3 which caught fire at sea while en route to Sulu province on Wednesday night. According to PDRRMO Basilan, there is a possibility that the missing individuals may have been swept away by powerful winds and waves several days after the incident happened.
Hindi dapat i-discount yung waves at saka yung tide kung during that time saan napunta or saan papunta. So dapat sa ganong level na kasi dito sa ating area of responsibility sa Hachimutamat Municipality, halos na libot-libot na rin naman natin, tapos yung mga tao natin under observation and monitoring sa coastal areas nila.
Aside from the assistance from the civilians, PDRRMO Basilan Head Nixon Alonso also called for the owner of the shipping vessel, the Allison Shipping Lines Incorporated, to help with the search operations.
Panawagan natin sa Allison na ibigay yung efforts din nila sa pamamagitan ng pagbigay ng mga sea vessels, no, or sea assets na pwedeng tumulong sa Coast Guard or sa gobyerno na maglibot-libot din, baka totoo yung haka-haka at sinasabi na meron pang ibang hindi natagpuan.
Last Friday, March 31, Allison Shipping Lines Incorporated stated that they have started providing financial aid to the victims. According to their spokesperson, Attorney Hash Ibrahim, each family of the deceased victims were given 25,000 pesos each as preliminary financial assistance, while 3,000 pesos were given to all the survivors of the tragedy. The shipping company has also asked for forgiveness and extended their condolences to all the victims and their families. Attorney Ibrahim added that they are coordinating with the Philippine Coast Guard, Bureau of Fire Protection, and other government agencies to expedite the identification process of the fire victims. In addition to the assistance given by Allison Shipping Lines Incorporated, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. also gave over 700,000 aid to the victims. A psychosocial intervention has also been conducted for the survivors of the tragedy. The agency has reported 28 deaths, 32 individuals still missing, and 227 survivors of the sea tragedy. Alan Manansala, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Pasay City Police District reports the escape of 10 detainees in Malibu Detention Facility around 4:30 this morning. The escapees are facing violation of the Republic Act 9165 or the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act of 2002 robbery and kidnapping. As of 7:30 p.m., there are 5 out of 10 escapees have already been found and under the custody of the authority. Manhunt operations for the other escapees is still ongoing and coordinated with the other police stations. Pasay City Mayor Emmy Calixto said they will give 30,000 peso reward for those who will help to find the other detainees.
Sa mga makukuha natin o mababalik ay talagang magre-reward po ako ng 30,000 pesos sa bawat tao na makuha po natin ulit. At ngayon, meron na kaming 4. So, para sabay-sabay. At doon po sa piitan, 35 talaga lahat. So, sa tingin ko yung 10, baka merong pinagdaanan, talagang may problem. Kasi, tingnan niyo po, hindi naman ginawa ng lahat. At sabi ko nga, nakiusap din ako sa kanila na mas magandang sumuko na sila.
United States underwater drone or remotely operated vehicle, commonly known as ROV, starts performing surveys and 3D mapping to take steps in oil control in the area where the sunken MV Princess Empress is located. Yesterday, the Dynamic Positioning Vessel or DPV Pacific Valkyrie arrived in Kalapan City, Oriental Mindoro, carrying the U.S. Navy ROV.
Yesterday, they made, actually last night sila nagbaba ng ROV kasi dumating rin sila dito tanghali na, di ba? So, nag-survey lang sila muna. Then, hihingin din namin yung kanilang survey result at kung ano yung suggestion nila para dun sa kanila namang effort. Iba-iba kasi school of thoughts.
Despite the increase of COVID-19 cases in the country, the Department of Health says it remains manageable and not significant. Gladys Tuwabi will tell us why.
The Department of Health, or DOH, says that the sudden increase or decrease in COVID-19 cases in the country is expected as the virus continues to stay.
So as of now, this kind of increase and decrease in the number of cases, expected yan. Kasi the virus is still here. At makikita pa rin natin yan because the virus is here to stay.
Health Officer in Charge Under Secretary Maria Rosario Vergere reiterates that cases in the country remain manageable, reason why it is not yet necessary to tighten restrictions again.
Tumaas nga, pero kakaunti. But it is not significant for us to say na kailangan na uli natin magkaroon ng restriction.
Currently, DOH continues its monitoring of the COVID-19 situation in the country. Same goes with the vaccination efforts to protect the Filipinos from getting infected.
Ang ating sistema ay handa para matugunan kung anumang pagtaas o pagbaba ng mga kaso ang ating mararanasan.
Experts also say that the increase in cases is expected as restrictions is no longer observed by majority, such as wearing a face mask. Experts also believe that the increase is not significant, especially that hospital admission and utilization remain at low risk. Gladys Tuwabi, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Our kasangbahay, as the world faces these trying times amid the pandemic caused by coronavirus, we are inviting everyone to join the global prayer for humanity from Monday to Friday, 9:30 p.m. Philippine time through the social media accounts of Members Church of God International.
Leave you with the word giving glory to God from the book of John chapter 8 verse 12. It says, Then spake Jesus again unto them, saying, I am the light of the world. He that followeth me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life. And those are the reasons behind the news, April 3, 2023. Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. I am Maria Latoza, reporting live from Perth, Australia.
And because we need to know, we will always ask why. I am William Theo. We serve the people. We give glory to God.